Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. You know, it helps to think of a nation's constitution kind of like its foundational operating system. I mean, it's literally the master code that dictates how everything in the country runs. But for a lot of people, that code feels, well, super abstract, right? Like it's miles away from their daily lives. So today we're going to decode a very specific, incredibly impactful chunk of it, Articles 29 through 40. We're going to see exactly how this massive, intimidating state machinery is actually designed to translate into tangible, everyday empowerment for you, the citizen.
To kick things off, I want to ask you a totally blunt, highly practical question based right on Article 30. Let's say the government fails to provide you with a job or, fails to give you the free housing under the rules we're about to discuss. Can you sue them? Can you actually drag the government into court and force their hand?
Well, the short answer is no. You can't actually take them to court over these specific provisions. But hold on, that absolutely doesn't mean the state just gets a free pass. Instead of lawsuits, the Constitution relies on public accountability. The president and provincial governors are legally required to put out an annual public report detailing exactly what they actually achieved when it comes to these principles. So it's really all about transparency and keeping a public scorecard.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. First, we'll hit the ground rules. Second, power to local communities. Third, unity and inclusion. Fourth, justice and economic welfare. And we'll wrap up with defense and global peace.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the ground rules, which covers Articles 29 and 30. So before the state can empower anyone, it needs its fundamental instructions, right? Article 29 lays down these massive guiding principles for the state, and this applies to literally everyone with authority. We're talking the government, parliament, the police, the bureaucrats, the whole shebang. These principles are supposed to act like a compass for every single law and decision they make. But, and this is a big but, there's a very realistic caveat built right into the code. The execution of these grand goals entirely depends on the available money and resources of the country. It's a beautiful blueprint for sure, but you still got to be able to afford the bricks to build it.
Moving right along to Section 2, Power to Local Communities, focusing on Article 32.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how this abstract state becomes something you can actually touch. Article 32? This is the true beating engine of citizen empowerment. It dictates that the government absolutely must set up local city and village councils. Think of your union councils. The whole point of this mandate is so that normal, everyday citizens can directly run their own towns and neighborhoods. We aren't talking about elite politicians in some distant capital here. This is about you managing your own street, your own local water supply, and your own community schools. And to make sure that local power doesn't just get hijacked by the local elite, Article 32 gets super specific. The state has to ensure that farmers, laborers, and women get guaranteed seats in these local councils. I mean, think about how powerful that is. The Constitution actively engineers local governments so that everyday working people, the ones literally tilling the land and building the infrastructure, along with women, actually take the wheel. This is the ultimate user interface for citizen empowerment, ensuring the voices shaping a community actually belong to the people living right there in it.
Okay, let's shift to Section 3, Unity and Inclusion, which covers Articles 31 through 36.
So once you empower those local communities, you need what's basically a social antivirus system to protect the citizens. Under Article 31, we see the principles regarding the Islamic way of life. The Constitution says the state has to help Muslims live according to Islamic values. In practical terms, this translates into making Islamic studies compulsory in schools, ensuring the Holy Quran is printed accurately, and encouraging folks to learn Arabic. It's a foundational cultural directive for the country.
But look, national unity means protecting everyone. Articles 33 through 36 lay out a really aggressive framework against exclusion. The state is flat out ordered to stop discrimination based on race, tribe, province, or sect. National unity has to come first. Plus, it has to actively help women enter all areas of work and politics, making sure they aren't left behind. It mandates the protection of marriage, mothers, and kids. And crucially, this is Article 36. It explicitly states that non-Muslim citizens must be kept safe, their rights protected, and they have to get a fair share of government jobs. The goal? A society where literally no one is structurally locked out. Which brings us to Section 4, Justice and Economic Welfare, covering Articles 37 and 38. Zooming out a bit, true empowerment isn't just about casting a ballot. It's about having a fair shot at life. Article 37 is essentially the state's ultimate checklist for social justice. These are proactive, concrete steps. The state has to try and end illiteracy by providing free, compulsory education. It's tasked with reforming the court system so it's actually cheap,
fast, and accessible to the poor, not just folks who can afford expensive lawyers. And it demands safe working conditions, specifically pointing out that there shouldn't be any heavy or dangerous labor for women and children.
And part of creating that fair, safe environment under Article 37 also involves getting rid of what the Constitution calls social evils. This means the state is strictly obligated to ban things like prostitution, gambling, and drugs. Alcohol is banned too, though the text does carve out specific exceptions for non-Muslims and for medicinal use.
Now, the really crucial economic point here is captured in Article 38, the welfare state rule. The Constitution draws a very hard line between two visions. It explicitly says the economy must benefit everyone and literally states it shouldn't just benefit a few rich families at the top. To make that happen, the state promises to try to provide basic needs – food, clothing, housing, education, healthcare – to anyone who can't work due to sickness, age, or unemployment. It guarantees fair wages, proper rest days, and even sets a goal to eliminate riba, or bank interest, as soon as possible. It's a bold vision of an economy built for the many, not the few.
Finally, let's zoom all the way out for Section 5, Defense and Global Peace, looking at Articles 39 and 40.
So how do all these fairness principles scale up to the national level? Well, Article 39 deals with joining the armed forces. It mandates that people from every single part of Pakistan, not just the historically dominant provinces or big cities, must be given a completely fair and equal chance to join the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. Geographically speaking, opportunity has to be dispersed equally across the entire map.
And looking even further, beyond our own borders, Article 40 lays down the nation's foreign policy goals. The state is instructed to build strong ties with other Muslim countries. Furthermore, it commits the nation to supporting global peace and helping to settle international disputes peacefully. It's a clear mandate to be a stabilizing, positive force on the global stage.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground today, right? From global peace all the way down to safe working conditions. But I really want to leave you by bringing us right back to the core focus of this explainer. You, the citizen, and your local power. The Constitution clearly believes that a nation's true strength lies in its roots, by actively empowering local farmers, laborers, and women to step up and run their own towns. The operating system has built the user interface for you. So here's the question I want you to walk away with today. Knowing this constitutional power already exists, what role are you going to play in your local council? Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and keep learning.